public comment.
Raven Martinez, Parsons. I do believe it's public comment. I do believe it's public information, and it should be discussed here for the simple fact that the city utilizes money, which is that of all the residents and taxpayers that live within the city limits, to give to the Katy Golf Course. If this is a company or an entity or a club that is currently delinquent on its taxes, why are we giving it a $12,000 subsidy? Last I checked, it was part of our economic development grants that if somebody is behind and they owe taxes or specials to the city, they are not eligible to receive a grant from the city. Is that not correct?
The money that goes to the golf course, is it related to ED?
I'm asking as far as economic development is concerned, in order to receive a grant, if a person cannot be delinquent on their taxes, is that correct? If they're delinquent, they're not eligible.
Most of the economic development grants and things that we do are for new businesses.
It
would not have.
I don't know offhand that that is a requirement. I mean, it would be part of this commission
What they
in a
review.
report from economic development to report if they were delinquent,
Okay,
which I'm
that-
sure would influence the decision. But I don't necessarily know that being delinquent would automatically, I don't know. it
What
wouldn't
about for the
automatically
$5,000
apply.
grant, revolving grants? Because I'm almost positive, I'll have to go back and look at my paperwork, that it says you cannot be delinquent.
The one we just revoked for retail?
Yeah, the $5,000 revolving loan, excuse me, not grant, but loan, that one.
We don't give $5,000 loan.
We don't do.
Right, I think we'd be the grant.
There's retail recruitment grant.
Right.
Okay, I'll come back to that, I'll bring the paperwork to that.
Yeah, let me know if you need a copy of the one we just approved, I'll get you a copy.
Okay, also, let's see, I had a concern about, we had, Carrie West did a great job, sorry to see her go, and I'm sure Jim's gonna do a great job as well. However, my concern is, I read in the paper, and I wanna verify with you then first off, I would email it to you guys, but I have emailed several times and never get any information or even so much as anything more than a thank you for your email. So I do have to bring my questions here. So if that annoys somebody or they feel like there's other intentions, it's not. It's because it's the only way I can get to say what I have to say. But on that, what she did, pretty much 3 positions, and it's my understanding that, because she did public information officer, community development director, correct? And then she did all of her clerical work. But now we gave, I think it's a Laura Moore, the community development director. Then we gave public information officer, that job to Mr. Zaleski, and talked about needing an administrative assistant who will pick up her clerical duties. Is that correct?
Not totally.
Okay.
Laura Moore is a certified CDBG grant writer who will also do other grants for the city. She's also going to do some of the community development. Some of it will be done by Jim along with public information. We have always had an administrative assistant position who has done some of my work, some of Derek's work. They've been in the front office. They will take part of the clerical part of what Carrie did.
Now, is the administrative assistant that the city of Parsons is currently has a job opening for, is that a new position, or is that?
No, it's not a new
Is that
position.
okay, so that's somebody they're replacing somebody?
Yes.
Somebody's leaving or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. Then my other part of that is, as the Labette County, Mr. Zaleski is also staying as Labette County Convention and Visitors Bureau Director, correct?
Tourism director, yes.
Okay. Now, it's my understanding that the building where the Parsons Chamber of Commerce is that owned by the city or by the Parsons Chamber of Commerce?
That's actually owned by the city. It will remain within the city holdings for a minimum of 3 years from the time that it was donated by the bank. It is
Now-
technically owned by the city, the front foyer is the 24-hour visitor information center that I put together. and the rest of it houses the chamber offices.
Okay, so now that you're moved up here to the municipal building, the only part of that now that is specific to Labette County Visitor and Convention Bureau is the front lobby, correct?
Well, the 800 number for tourism goes in there. Storage of all of the tourism brochures are still held in the former bank vault, and the storage capacity over on the side where the drive-thru used to be. So my visitor guides, outdoor guides, maps, brochures, rack cards that would be distributed as collateral material by the Labette County Tourism Bureau, that's all still stored in that building.
Okay, because my concern is that the city of Parsons, under an agreement with the county, instead of receiving, it's only half of the, or the, is it the transit guest tax?
Right.
They agreed with the county that instead of receiving only half of it, they would receive all of it, in agreement that they would then promote all of Labette County. Well, I have stopped up there. I have one concern, the only school district out of 4 school districts within the whole Labette County that's represented is one, and that is Parsons, USD 503. I have concerns about then if the director now is going to be moved up here to the municipal building, anything part of that building, utilities that are paid there, if the cost that's been associated with buying even office supplies, as little as that, that's like printers. If that was purchased with Labette County funds, which is supposed to be to promote all of Labette County, that should move up here with Mr. Zaleski. Otherwise, the Chamber of Commerce is not part of the city. And they need to then be at least paying some kind of, I don't know, do they currently pay any kind of rent?
No, actually, it's quite the opposite, and this is where history would help. As long as 20 years ago, the city was subsidizing the chamber to help in the promotion and development of economic development. They did tourism, several things. As we've combined and utilized the same office space to promote the area, the intertwining of the common goals between tourism, economic development, and the chamber are inseparable. Any information that's sent up there, if 506 or 4 or any of them sends information up there, it's put on display. There's no segregation on any information. We represent the entire county in a 24-hour visitor information center. So quite the opposite of them paying rent, we're probably going to end up subsidizing them even more so they can continue to assist in some of the things that a one-man tourism bureau can't do. Distribution of information, answering 800 number, filing and mailing dozens, if not hundreds of personal information requests on tourism brochures, visitor guides, outdoor guides, hunting applications, hunting recs, any of a dozen collateral pieces that we would put in promotion there. So actually quite the opposite. We'll look at every way we can to help the chamber be successful. Without a successful and vibrant chamber, you have a dying community. So we're going to do everything we can to help make them successful.
Okay, but you helped them do that while you was over there. So if moving here under the same, and moving here and taking on more positions is not going to allow you to do that, and it's going to cost the city then to pay them more or subsidize them more. That sounds like it's costing the city because you've taken on essentially maybe the couple of full-time jobs as one person and now need assistance in accomplishing all of those. So perhaps that's a problem. And then on the budget, this would be for but Debbie, I guess, on the budget, it said, it was my understanding there was a part of the agreement that also stated, I know what originally it said 18,000. I believe the next one said $50,000 would be transferred from economic development from the city of Parsons into the tourism fund. And I did notice that for 2006, that has been budgeted down to 0.
Right, 2016.
Or yes, 16.
Right. Well, and that, as you know, you all approved the budget. There was actually several things that were transferred, and if we're talking about subsidizing tourism versus chamber, they no longer get the tourism, excuse me, the chamber entity no longer receives $20,000 from the general fund. That was
No,
part
but
of the
my
changes.
question is if that was a part of the agreement, the current agreement, has that agreement that was entered into with the county that stated that the city of Parsons would transfer those funds, has that agreement been updated or repealed? Because
Well,
if the
actually,
agreement still states as such.
The agreement was, it wasn't half, the agreement was, the county collected 2% on a bed tax. You can't double tax the hotels. The county rescinded on their own the 2%, so that there was no 2% being issued. We were, then as a city stepped in and issued a 6% bed tax on the hotels. So in effect, tripling the amount of tax that people who stay here pay from 2% to 6%. Under the agreement that tourism, and this is something I pushed for from the first interview I had for the job, tourism can't be limited to a geographic area. We're called Labette County Tourism, but quite frankly, we promote as much in Cherokee and Crawford as we do in Labette because high tide rises all the boats. So countywide is simply my geopolitical boundary, but we work region-wide. So that's pretty pretty straightforward. The $50,000 that came from economic development to tourism was a cherry on top of that agreement. It is now in the economic development line item. As of 2016, January 1, the same person will be responsible for executing the economic development line item and the tourism line item. So as a matter of housekeeping, that $50,000 was moved back to economic development. The $20,000 that used to come from a general fund that went to the chamber was eliminated and put back into the general fund. So in some instance, we've actually stripped the chamber for $20,000 that they no longer have the ability to use that was coming to them after they merged under my direction with the downtown Parsons organization. So that $20,000 is not going to them. But again, I stress, we will do everything in our power to continue to subsidize, if necessary, the chamber to make sure it handles its job accordingly. The events that they run, the activities that they put on are vital to this community.
Okay,
I understand your challenge.
I just have resolutions that I got from the county that they entered into with the city of Parsons, so I can give you copies of that, of all the resolutions and exactly what it states that they believe on their side. They're saying, whoa, wait a second, so thank you.
I'm sorry, one of the county commissioners said, whoa, wait a second, because I communicate with them all the time, and they are very open and knowledgeable of what we're doing up here as a tourism bureau, as a chamber. I mean, if they have a question, I'd be happy to talk to the county commissioners, but in general, I talk to them on a regular basis, and they understand what we're doing. I mean, they understand the concept and where it's going, how it's being spent. In fact, we subsidize rack cards for every one of the communities in our county that would like them. Tourism writes a check for it. That's part of representing the entire county that we're following up on. Rack cards for different areas, investments in other cities. That's part of our what we need to do in tourism to remain countywide.
Thank you.